How are your EU counterparts responding to you saying that London is open? What have you been hearing in your conversations with your EU counterparts?
Well, I think they're pleased and reassured to hear that message from me, the mayor of our capital city. It's really important that we remind our friends in Europe that even if we do leave the European Union, if Brexit does happen, we'll still very much be part of Europe. We are very proud to be European, but it's also really important to realise that cities across Europe and indeed across the world have got to work closer together to address some of the challenges we face, from climate change and the climate emergency to air quality to countering violent extremism. And it's really good to have friends, and they are friends, here from all the major cities in Europe.
Sadiq, what are financial services companies right now saying to you about their futures in the UK?
They're really worried about the possibility on October the 31st of us leaving the European Union with no deal whatsoever. They're very concerned about the possibility of us falling off a cliff edge, and what they're hoping is that the new Prime Minister, whoever he is, it's going to be a he, the new Prime Minister realises the consequences of a no-deal situation, and cooler heads prevail. They're worried about the uncertainty, of course. What worries them more is the catastrophe of a no-deal Brexit.
Yeah. On the new Prime Minister, Sadiq, I mean, at the moment, Boris Johnson is the front runner, and he's pledged again to take the UK out of the EU on October 31st. This, of course, even as members of his party are trying to prevent him from doing that without a deal. You succeeded Boris Johnson as London mayor. Were there areas of Boris's style of working and legacy that give an indication to you of what he might be like as Prime Minister?
No, I think the idea that I can predict Boris Johnson's behaviour is quite funny. Nobody can. I think what's important is for him to be challenged on some of the assertions he's made, and he's been hiding from the media, hiding from scrutiny. And the questions he's got to answer is how he's going to manage to persuade the EU 27 to change their mind over the course of a few weeks and offer a better deal than Theresa May negotiated. How's he going to persuade not just his cabinet, not just his party, but Parliament to accept any new deal he brings back? And what are the consequences of us leaving the European Union without any deal whatsoever? And also, he's got to answer the question about what to do with the border between Northern Ireland and Southern Ireland. Big questions he can't answer, which is why he's been ducking scrutiny.
OK, so answer me then, what is Labour's position on Brexit? Is it time to stop sitting on the fence?
My view is very simple. We're at a situation now where the deal being offered to the British public is a million miles away from what was promised during the referendum campaign. In those circumstances, the British public, for the first time, should be given an option. Do they accept the deal negotiated by the government with the option of remaining in the European Union? I'm really pleased that my national party, the Labour Party, is moving closer towards my position. It's really important we provide clarity nationally as to what our position is. I've been quite clear as the Mayor of London. I think it's really important for the National Labour Party to show that clarity as well.
Sadiq, we're looking ahead to the G20 as well, where markets are bracing perhaps for a meeting on the sidelines between President Trump and Xi Jinping. President Trump before has not been terribly complimentary about you. I don't want to go back over the old ground, but do you think there's a danger that the disagreements between the two of you will cause lasting harm to the relationship between London and the US?
Not at all. Listen, I, like many Londoners, love America, love Americans. We've got so much in common. We commemorated the 75th anniversary of the D-Day landings, a reminder that at times of adversity we stand shoulder to shoulder with one another. One of the things about a special relationship, it's akin to having best friends. And when you've got a best friend, the expectations of one another are different to the expectations of a friend or an acquaintance. And I think that includes having the sort of relationship where you can call each other out. It's important to be grown up about this, to say, listen, I disagree with you about issue A and B, but let's get on and work on the other issues we can agree with. And I do disagree with your president on a number of his policies and a number of things he has said, as indeed do many Londoners and many people in your own country.
Sadiq, one thing that President Trump has sort of criticised is knife crime in London, and he's not the only one that's done so. Would you say it's still out of control?
Look, there is an issue of the increase in violent crime across cities all across England and Wales over the last 4 or 5 years. We are still one of the safest global cities in the world. What I don't want to do is point fingers at American cities, which are far more dangerous than London. What I'd rather do is work in collaboration with other city leaders, other police forces to see how we can learn lessons from each other. The good news is, over the last year in London, we've seen a 20% reduction in knife injuries of those under 25 and a 30% reduction in homicides. I'm not complacent, though. I want to go even further, even faster. And I'm happy to work with other leaders of other cities or other countries or other commissioners to work to see how we can fight this challenge we face, not just across my country, but also across the world. We're seeing an increase in violent crime. But the good news is, here in London, we're seeing progress made in bringing it down.